start. Proxies, we have proxies listed. We don't have any special guests in attendance and.
Yes, we do.
Brittany.
Oh, sorry.
And Kathy.
Well,
Neither of them are on the board.
To me, they're not special. They're always special. To me, they're part of the family. But Brittany I have down as part of the agenda.
That's right.
But welcome guests. Ms. Kathy.
Thank you. I'm here with good news. We being Mouse River Players is the recipient of a $5,000 contribution from the Burlington Northern Railway Foundation. We only submitted that grant last December, but we'll take it. There is I'm gonna send out a thank you letter, if that's all right.
Please do.
And then we have an annual report that is due 1 year from the date of the check or when the project is finished, whichever comes first. So I can easily put together a little report. Basically, I think we said we were going to spend that money on the orphan train and then some microphones. Anything left over would probably went to the sound system. So,
Because all of that was linked to Orphan Train at that point.
so then money that, it's just moving the money to something else. But is that acceptable to the board? Do you want our illustrious board chair to sign that report? Maybe just for whatever, I can email you a copy and you could sign it and fax it out, please.
Sure.
Just so
Make it official.
make it official. Okay. Here's a letter, I'll pass that around. There's a lot of almost scary sounding stuff in there, but it's really doesn't really apply to the kind of donation we've got. It's just boilerplate stuff, so don't let that nervous you out. The other thing that I brought today is a draft strategic plan for finance that I wanted to use as a basis for future grant writing. So if you just take one, I flipped them every other way, be sure to take for all the pages that are going on. This is yours.
Is this for finance or for grants?
Well, I threw finance on there. You can say for grants, as you wish. Yeah, whatever. I can change that.
Finance being
And
just a
then
little
you'll
bit more
see-
expensive probably.
Yeah. The future page. You'll see in the silver one, Lynn, very nicely put what heading should be here. It should say technology. So I was on the road today and I didn't get a chance to access, so that should say technology. What we've done is we've divided the kinds of grants into what the funders like to focus on. So some funders focus on community service, some funders focus on traditionally underserved populations, technology, productions, or shows as we like to call them, organization and nonprofit management, and facility development and maintenance. They're not listed in any particular order, so the order of this is not important. The red, the stuff that you see in red that says to be developed, that does not mean it will be developed. These are more just examples of the kinds of things that could be done. So we might also switch those out for something else that's related that somebody wants to do. I just wanted to have examples in every category.
Kathy, I did notice on some of the places where I had added some additional lines or some additional information, it didn't print out.
Oh,
For example, under community service, after putting on the show, speaking publicly, carving a role, I'm not sure what carving, introduction of interested,
Okay.
yeah.
That may be my fault.
Okay, it's just that I tried putting it in under the review
because yours
stuff.
came to my phone and I forwarded it to Ken and then
I was trying to get this thing printed and I was at work and I was formatting Excel.
But if it's confusing to anybody, that's why.
So that's why. So maybe what we can do is send out an electronic copy that will be easier for people to
Put it
open.
on the Dropbox, on the media file.
Since, we don't always have really robust figures on what things cost, Lynn and Ken and I are working on getting that, and I'm sure it's gonna come through every day, any day, but, so what we did is we set kind of rough financial targets. Those are not an exact measure of what things cost, but it just kind of gave us a ballpark figure to shoot for. And then we corresponded the grants that we're gonna start working for. The biggest thing, I think the next step that I'm gonna do is just write a series of smaller grants for shows, for production, because those are easiest to get. But I do wanna draw your attention to the one under organization, nonprofit management. I listed the Otto Bremer Foundation. We would have an opportunity to get a nice, like $40,000 or more grant. But I can't write that grant until I know that the board wants to do some of these things. So what I would ask you to do is be ready maybe to vote next meeting on whether that's something you want to go with, or you can come back to me and say, no, Kathy, I know the money looks good, but we don't want to be more organized and manage the nonprofit any better right now. We want you to concentrate over here instead. I mean, it's all up to you, but there are options.
Just a question, Kathy, when you're looking at the Otto Bremer one, what would be a project that you could see them looking at?
Well, if you look in right next to the blue,
Yeah.
So they could fund a strategic planning retreat for the board members.
Okay.
They could fund printing costs, and they could also fund time. One of the reasons the board has not got to this organizational nonprofit management thing is everybody's doing this on top of their day job. We're all volunteers, and some of this stuff takes concentrated work. The position that is being piloted with Lynn was not envisioned to do all that. And so we could bring in a facilitator to help facilitate that strategic planning process. We could put together a board recruitment, training, and orientation process. Those are all things we can do. You may decide they're not the most important things.
Right. Yeah, no, I just wanted, thank you.
But,
And then-
that was a good question.
Then I have another question. Do any of these I'm looking at, I know the replacement microphones, lights, computers, printers, the equipment and supplies category. Do you find that any of these granting places would consider a match? Because what we have used our concession money often and said, this is going to go for the alley lighting. Would there be something in the way of a matching funding?
Well,
Do you see anything like that?
The Otto Bremer Foundation often does matches. So that's one that comes to mind.
Okay.
I would say the community foundations, Minot Community Foundation, North Dakota Community Foundations, they would be likely to do a match.
Because our donors typically like a recognized project as well.
Right.
And if they knew that what they were giving was going to be matched by another entity.
Oh, we got a match of such and such.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Keep in mind that under the technology, one of our set builders par excellence has said that our lighting system is badly in need of an upgrade in terms of wiring. Some of the grants, aren't going to give us probably enough money for that at one shot. But that's something where we could try for the match, or we could try for a capital campaign. If you look at the building maintenance, facility development and maintenance, and I'm sorry about the cutoff. You know, the one thing that's been shared with me is the need to redo the front for these cells and then redo the front area. And those would take rather large capital campaigns that we'd have to. So I urge you as a board to just discuss what you think is important right now. And this is very much a draft in progress. It's my understanding from Lynn Randall that there are ideas floating around about the board possibly meeting a finance committee.
Yep.
And then I would certainly be willing to meet with that group and get into the weeds
And that's,
on this. And so if you decide to go that way, let me know.
and that's something that we will be appointing. I just haven't sent out an email yet.
Thank you very much, Kathy. That's a lot of work to go
But
to
we
this.
got $5,000, so we'll take it, right?
You know, and thank you for getting that Burlington Northern one through. That's wonderful.
Yay, Kathy.
Okay, thank you, Ms.
You're
Kathy.
not. Enjoy.
All right,
You can stay if you want.
moving on to the acceptance of the agenda. Is there any changes before we approve it and move forward? Any adds, anything right now?
Just something quick. My name is spelled wrong.
Oh, sorry.
It's double T-A-N-Y.
My apologies.
It's okay. It's a common misspelling.
Okay. Okay, do any other changes to the agenda?
So,
Okay. Motion to accept the agenda as is,
no motion.
seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those nays? Okay, we'll carry forward. Just everybody get a few minutes to look at the meetings from the meeting notes rather.
Fortunately, they managed to get out quickly last time.
Thank you for that, Lynn.
They did great.
I was super sick, you guys, sorry.
I think there was Ken had said the errors in omissions insurance,
Errors and omissions.
omissions, not
It's
admittance.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
all, yeah.
Yeah, that one came in after I'd sent them the last time, and I was like, we'll just have to deal with
Yeah,
it.
I did check. That is that is the legal term for it.
Okay. Page. It's, page of,
Okay.
wait, page 2 of
I was gonna say,
the,
what
agenda,
is that?
no,
Yeah, same one. Thank you.
does anybody need page 1?
If you send me, then I'll have it. You have to,
And
or haven't you had it?
the media fire
I
thing,
go on Friday.
because
I'm
we
really
need to start.
I had my scars only like.
Yeah, my mom had it then too.
And I have that on my
You
computer,
feel better
but,
when you're done.
Yeah, I
you
can.
know, passing it on or whatever.
So,
No.
Does that, do we feel confident that that's a good place to
I
put
think
this?
it's, I think they're very good person.
Because we get audited again, I don't want to have to be the only one that has it.
Can I make a quick note? We are live streaming this and the camera is very good and it does pick up sound very well, but when we have multiple conversations going, using for whoever may be watching or when we try to do a recording later, when we have multiple conversations going on. So if you could try to limit conversations to one at a time, I think everyone would kind of appreciate that watches it.
I know Heather said she was hoping to watch this because she couldn't be here today. Regarding what I was overhearing you saying on the notes, electronic notes are fine, but I will say if we can get copies made of at least our meeting notes to be put in binders, it certainly helps for example, when I'm trying to go track down all of the budget stuff for the shows, that it's a lot easier for me to come up here, grab the binders and leaf through them at home than trying to figure out who has the electronic copy and where it is and stuff like that. So one copy made and stuck in a binder, it'd be really great.
I just want to make sure that for recording posterity, we have to keep it in order. Because I think the last time we were audited was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And John was like, does anybody have records? And I'm like, I have what I have. So I just want to, we need to start keeping it. in one
Well,
final
that was
place.
it. He needed to have the hard copies. And that's what the problem was. We had
Jerry
electronic
likes the hard
copies.
copy.
We didn't have hard copies. I know I got him a lot of the ones that I had kept.
Yeah, I have
Just for
almost
me.
everything, I need to get them all put in order, so.
Do we have a motion yet on meetings?
I motion that they accept it.
So we have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Meeting notes entered as is. Okay, treasury report,
Okay.
Mr. King.
I have a position and a statement of detail activity, or activity detail. They're fairly self-explanatory. If anybody's got any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer.
So I saw you had the BNS up in there already.
I did. That's why I wanted Kathy on the agenda.
Because I was gonna make a note of that. I said, where did that come from?
Yeah, what do you think about that?
The overall totals,
Pardon?
the overall totals, are they summarized in there?
They're totals of what?
Like the account? Or is
What?
that,
There's, I saw a page that had totals.
There's,
The,
if I can buy a, that has the totals. Yes. Things of note, I guess, the current liabilities are paid passes. And those are passes that have been purchased that are on the books. We owe them the tickets, that's why it's a liability.
But if they're passed, we don't owe them a ticket technically. It's just on the books as such.
Well,
When can that get
what
get
happened,
eliminated?
it goes, as at the end of each show, the value of the tickets that's been used gets, there's a journal entry to remove it from passes into the show income.
It's like it's held in.
And what happens is, at the end of the season, passes that are never used, I'm quite figured out exactly where that's supposed to go. And you
Yeah,
have to
because
ask Jerry
if I
about
buy a
that.
ticket but I don't come, the money's still there. You know,
If you buy it,
Into the show, or does it go?
distinguish between a ticket and a pass. A pass is a voucher for a ticket.
so we're talking about comp.
We're talking
What it
about
is when you
paid
buy the
vouchers.
pass.
The Flex Pass is a paid voucher that will get you a ticket.
So what he's saying is you put your $70 in,
Yeah.
but not all of that money goes to one show.
Right.
So it's $70 over here, and then when you come see Church Basement, it takes the amount out and puts it in Church
Yeah.
Basement, but you still have some left. So that's why it's kept separate.
But after the course of the season, doesn't it become
Then it becomes,
void, so to speak? Because it's
well, no,
against,
it gets translated. And I'm not quite clear. I'm not an accountant, so I'm not quite clear exactly where it should go. I may need to ask Jerry.
My guess is that it would just get done as a general
As
deposit
a
into the
general,
account,
generally,
because it's somebody purchased an
But they didn't
item,
use it.
but they didn't use it.
it's already on the books as income.
but it can't be used for this upcoming season,
No,
so.
it's already on the
Yes.
books as a cash receipt.
Yeah.
So it's been in there as a cash receipt, so it can't be a cash receipt again. So it becomes, the ones that are used becomes part of the income for the show. The leftover at the end becomes.
Don't we have a miscellaneous fund?
Becomes oh my God, unredeemed tickets or something. I will. I figured out this report. This will happen in the future. I'll just add to this. So it'll get longer each time.
Which is fine.
So.
I'll just print it smaller.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Is it Paul Simonson or Paula Simonson?
Paula Simonson.
Fat fingered, it's Paula.
Okay,
Paula.
So according to Robert's rules, we are to accept the financials as they are. Does anybody have any more questions, comments before the motion is seconded?
You don't actually need a motion. They are accepted by
Automatic.
pending an audit. That's just the standard parliamentary procedure, accepted pending an audit unless somebody objects to it.
So any objections? I'll carry the statement as seen. All right, thank you, Ken. All right, old business. The only thing I want to put down, I just put down because I know I have things that are outstanding that would get done. Holly and I talked about the newsletter committee. We have not seen an affiliate yet due to circumstance of my family. But Brittany, I had you down as wanting to help.
Correct.
Holly said that she would chair. I would be on it, Ashley and Penny. Anybody else? This is the newsletter. Basically, what we're going to do is set up a committee, talk about a design, start looking at some articles, put it together, bring it to the board with like 3 things, and we'll vote on it, so we like the best. Then also, I still need to get a letter out to Tim on the wood room cleanup and compensation for that. The only thing I'm not sure about is, did we ever come up with a compensation amount? Or did we say he would tell us?
We didn't discuss anything about a set amount.
Okay. But I don't want to go blabbing my mouth off without knowing, which I'm good at. Yes.
the one thing that I do know is because of the season and the fact that at this point he's scheduled to be working on 3 of the shows and possibly a 4th, that anything that is going to be done with it is most likely to not actually get done until next spring. Planning could happen, but that would be about it.
I mean, basically, I would say he would tell us when he's done. If you want half now and pay later, doesn't matter to me. So how do we come up with a compensation piece? Is that something we just tell him what he thinks, or? I mean, shouldn't it be official somehow?
And maybe we can do a sit-down discussion with Tim and maybe come to an agreement on a price. Because I know that it'll probably require a lot of hours to, what would be fair compensation for the number of hours that we put into that work.
Okay.
And also keeping in mind that just in general, we're not looking to make this something that would be equivalent to what you would find out in the real world. Because bottom line is we are a volunteer organization, and much of what we do is done because we have a love of theater and not because we want
But it needs
a
to be.
lot. It's just nice to have something to say, yes, I appreciate it.
It needs to be fair. And then also I'm going to be appointing a finance committee. I had a couple people that said they were interested. Is anybody interested sitting at this table?
I believe I'm more interested.
I have you,
I don't really want to be on the committee, but I do have some information available.
Okay.
I get too many committees I'm involved with already.
Okay, and then the other piece was the SRT codes. I do have them. I'm sorry I did not get them put in because I had to leave for Texas for my mom. So.
Dr. Fishbaugh did enter my code into the system during, I believe it was last week's work call.
Gotcha. Okay. But I do plan on being here this week and I'll get them put in, so. All right, new business. Miss Brittany, which I spelled wrong. Social media updates.
Yes, so kind of the newest thing that we're doing right now is we're live streaming our meeting. So that's what that little beautiful blue light is up there. Couple quick notes about it. Like Ed said earlier, we need to make sure we're speaking loudly and clearly so that everyone can hear it. Also consider what you're saying because this video gets to be around forever. Okay, so we have people watching it right now, so make sure that you're aware that we're live and other people are seeing the meeting. This camera, if you see it around, please don't touch it. Don't move it from wherever you may find it. It does belong to Ed, and we don't want it to go missing or get broken. It's being used pretty much exclusively for this purpose and this purpose only. The other major thing that we have going on social media wise is we did a FlexPass giveaway. We had an extra FlexPass from Imagicon that and so instead of just having it go to waste, figured why not do a giveaway? So we had the giveaway that ran for about 2 weeks. I'll be back towards the end of the meeting to announce the winner on that. That way, if people are watching or chime in or whatever, then maybe they'll stay around until that happens. But it was very successful. We had over 95 likes or reactions to it. I think 135 people shared it. Tons and tons of comments. Probably the most popular show, the show people are most looking forward to this year is Church Basement Ladies. So, and then A Christmas Story after that. But I think they're two really good shows to get our season started, and then people are going to come back for the other three. We are still running our Twitter, although it's sad. We have 8 followers, so anybody who has Twitter, you can definitely jump on there and flesh that out a little bit. I only have a Twitter to follow most of the players. So, and then, I've been posting on, thank you. I've been posting on Reddit as well. There's a our Minot page, so it's dedicated to things going on in Minot. And so I posted out about ticket sales for Church Basement Ladies, and we actually had somebody who was like, "You have to see this show; it's hilarious." So it's kind of a under-reached market that I think we can do better with, and that's my plan going forward, is to make sure everything is put there as well. Now I'm going to go that way so I can actually listen to the live stream and make sure that the audio is coming through. All right.
Thank you, Ms. Brittany. And I promise I'll Spider-Man ready.
Okay. And I'll be back.
Circle, actually. Okay, Miss Lynn, you want to just carry on with your bullets there?
I've been busy. Trying to set meetings up, trying to maintain things, attend places. It's, a lot of work. Tomorrow evening, I'm asking anybody who's interested in discussing possible perks about being a member of MRP, starting at 6:30. There is no official committee for this, but if somebody feels they would like to take over a committee for membership, I'm certainly willing to give over any kind of leadership on that. We handed out information at the downtown festival. Quite a few people took our information pieces about it. Haven't received anything that I know of back from anybody. We also had talked about the board becoming members so that it was a good show of faith. I'm number 1. That's about it. It doesn't have to be something that starts in the beginning of the season. If people want to join in later on, it is a way of showing support to MRP, and we hope to have some little perks during the course of the time. One that has been mentioned several times by people is, as a member, you get 1 free non-alcoholic beverage when you come to a show. It's what, 25 cents for whatever? It's not a big deal. I thought of doing a kind of a drive situation, doing ice cream sundaes on Sunday at the Sunday show. And if you're a member, you get a free ice cream sundae, things like that. I'm also thinking about taking a lead from Justin at the Sorry River Humane Society and going around the Downtown Association and asking if they might be willing to be advertised to our memberships. And if you're a member of MRP, you get perhaps a 5 or a 10% discount off your dinner bill or your drink bill or something like that. I haven't gone any further because I'd like to get an idea of what other people can come up with. That's not going to be really super extensive. I'm thinking little perks for tomorrow night. Auditions are set up for Christmas Story, September 25th at 7:30, September 26th at 6:30, and September 29th at 1 o'clock. They will be here, most likely downstairs, because they will still be rehearsing Church Basement Ladies. No set monologues necessary. I haven't gotten a total range of ages, but I think there are some young people featured as well. Noon shows for all of the shows have been set up. And I have Chris, I have the pages. I'll have to get yours. Church Basement Ladies is Tuesday, October 2nd. Unfortunately, the one for KMOT won't air until the middle of our run, but sometimes getting that boost after this in the second week is a good thing. I didn't get a lot of response from my requests on dates for the season committee, so I just randomly picked October 15th at 6:30 as a starting point for the season committee. If people can't be there, we'll get the information to you. If you can be there, great. What I would like to see done at this particular meeting is setting up a calendar, a schedule of when we would like to see things accomplished, and determining who is going to be the chairperson. Because really, I don't want to be the chairperson. I'd really like it to be somebody else that has, a little bit more time to dedicate to it. We can also discuss ideas that we have, conflicts that we've encountered, whatever, but it's mostly going to be just general interest. The Downtown Minot Festival went quite well, except that it was freezing cold. We handed out probably 150 brochures to people. Many, many thanks to Ed, who is a particularly great salesman who likes to get out there and talk to the people. A lot of comments that we got from people was they were looking forward to coming back, which was nice. And that, gee, we didn't know where that you existed. Where are you? And we were like, well, if you walk through Margie's, then you'll be right there. We did have several comments about they would like to see shows that are produced for children, not necessarily by children. Mask seems to be taking the lead of having the children be the everything. But there were a number of people who were interested in things kind of like Frog and Toad, where adults or older kids were putting things on for younger kids. They thought that was something that could be a focus that we could fill. Again, this is all things that we can discuss at the season committee. I think that we should try, as a downtown organization, to attend as many of these things as we possibly can. I didn't realize that we could have been attending the Downtown Gathering 1.0. If I'd known, I would have tried to take the time to set it up. But again, it can't just be me. We need other people to take some time to be in charge of things like that. We have, and Ken and Brittany and I have come up with an audience preference survey to find out just some general ideas of what people are interested in seeing here. I have a copy of it, people can look at it. We're basically, what genre of show do you prefer to see? And then big titles, comedy, musical, drama, review, family, children's productions, or one acts in 10 minutes. Are you or your family interested in participating? And suggestions. Do you have any suggestions for upcomings? And that's going to go out email. And then we're also going to have copies available for Church Basement Ladies. After Basement Ladies is done, we're going to coordinate all that information, kind of get an idea of what our patrons that are willing to answer things would like to see. Because if they're willing to put the effort to answer this, then they're interested enough to want to see what they have there produced. So if anybody wants to take a look, well, I'll
Pass
send
it
it in.
around.
Hey, Lynn, I have a quick,
Yes,
back to the season committee. So
sure.
You had mentioned the kids program. Is it part of the season committee or is that like a different committee?
Usually, in the past, historically, the children's production, whether it is done for children or by children, has usually been independent of the season. We've tried a couple of times incorporating it into the season, and it's had good reception, but most of the time shows that have kids involved have a good reception. I'm just not sure our patrons, who are the older patrons paying the money, would like to see a lot more stuff,
Right.
but they would like to see something. We also have that aspect in our, it's not so much in our mission statement, but one of the things in our bylaws is to encourage youth and children in live theater, and this is a way to do it. So it kind of works together in as much as the Children's Committee would set up their plans for either classes or a production or whatever, and then it wouldn't be incorporated into the season, but we would have to be aware of what was happening with that children's stuff so that we didn't overrun it with a date or a show that might take away kids from the kids committee.
Okay, because the reason I ask is I've listed it as a special committee, the children's.
It would be separate from the season committee.
That way, sorry.
Not a problem, not a problem. Anybody who is a techie who works here, Kathy came to me and said she would like to get a wish list of about 10 items of things that our tech people would like to see acquired.
Safeties for the lights.
What?
Safeties for the lights.
Well, if this is the kind of thing she's looking for, what it is and an estimated cost of how much it would be, so she can put it in for a grant. I had suggested that we are in bad need of a rewire for our lighting system. In the past, we've done the soundboard or microphones or the big speakers in the front. Maybe it's new flats. I mean, something that simple, new flats, or maybe we need a new set of hammers, or who knows? But anybody who's done tech work, if you can, I'm willing to coordinate it, send it to me, send me the email, and I will put it together and send Kathy a list of 10 or more items that would be helpful for us to have.
We're talking stage tech, not like digital tech, right?
Stage tech, yes, stage tech.
Like
There's
LED lights.
Always think, if they are theater LED lights. Yeah,
I'll send you-
unfortunately, the ones that we have, whereas they're nice, all they do is a wash and they don't focus or anything like that.
I'll
So.
send you a list of 25 already.
Well, and I will coordinate it and I send it, again, my job is a funnel. I funnel the information to other people. She also asked me, are we currently members of the Chamber of Commerce? Does anybody know?
Historically, we have always been.
Do
I cannot
we-
tell you if the dues have been paid.
Okay,
That would be Ken. I can't believe she asked you. I think she'd ask Ken.
okay. Because she thought that that would be something that might be a good
We have
thing for us to keep up with.
We have been,
Um,
we have been for years.
historically.
I don't know if it's lapsed, but we were.
I am thinking that recently I've been hearing a lot from people about the Blue Rider and the tap room's trivia nights and how they give away prizes for their trivia nights. I have not been to any of them, but my mind went, what if we were to offer either some comp tickets for the upcoming, like if they're having a Disney one the end of this month. And what if we were to offer them some comp tickets to use as prizes towards the show, the next show that's coming? I thought that might be a good way to get information out to a group of people we may not reach. But I wanted to get approval before I went any further with investigating or asking or anything like that. So that is my question. Would I have approval to approach downtown businesses and offer this as something they could utilize for their trivia nights or giveaways in an effort to branch into the downtown association? And
I would say absolutely.
Yeah. Can you add Starving Rooster to that list?
yes, I
She's
can.
a big theater supporter, Jeremy.
Anybody that anyone knows, I'm willing to go and talk to people.
Could we budget that towards advertising, so then making sure the show gets paid, be taken out of advertising towards that show? Whichever they use
But we
it for.
don't technically pay anything.
Okay, that's fine.
That's the only, I don't know how it would be done, but maybe Ken has a way of keeping track of that.
Yeah, totally supportive, but the suggestion I would add is that the prize ticket that's given specifies a reservation must be made, as sometimes people believe that they
They
Oh,
have
yes.
gotten
they have
in the
to
past.
actually.
Well,
So that's stipulation.
basically all of our comp passes that I've drawn up lately have all said reservation must be made,
Right,
for the show,
yeah, because
so,
this would be a new audience, they might need that
right.
bold face.
And
I
then,
can tell you from after attending the tap room ones, a lot of our patrons are there. Like there's like a bunch of them.
I did hear one person say how they had learned about MRP through the tap room trivia, but I didn't have any idea how, because they were off in a corner talking and they were talking about the tap room and I overheard.
Like I know Bonnie and John go, and like
so Lynn, I would say that if you're willing to take that on, just use your discretion and just get it out there.
Okay,
I mean, tickets are free to us and it puts butts in the seats.
and that was my whole feeling is even if we just, we're not really taking a loss per se,
It's advertising.
and they just might bring somebody else in.
Well, and the thing too, like I don't know how Taproom and Blue Rider are, but Starving Rooster gives gift cards. They'd probably be happy to give a ticket and not a gift card, because I know that they're $10, $15, and $20 denominations, and they do 3 rounds twice
Now, is this a
On a
trivia
Wednesday
night?
Wednesday nights. So
Okay,
they'll do
so
like a 7
those are
o'clock
3 that
session.
I know of that do trivia nights.
Yeah. But they do like a 7 o'clock session, then an 8 o'clock, and then they have 3 rounds in each session. So that's
Okay.
6.
I'll go,
Times three,
I'll
there's
go with,
18
start with
gifts.
those 3, and if anybody hears of another place that does similar, yes, Me Mexico. I don't know much about this, but Ken was talking to the manager of Me Mexico, and Me Mexico is going to sponsor Christmas Story. And he said something, it was very random talk, about if they brought a ticket from MRP to Me Mexico, that they might get a free appetizer or something
The
like
Blue
that.
Rider used to do that. Do you remember what they used to give? Was it a free drink with their
Yeah.
program or their tickets?
So one of the
Night out.
things that I want to do with the membership whole thing
Yeah.
is maybe see if we can get that kind of a, I rub your back type of thing
Mhm.
going on, but that's not for the here and now.
I mean, I don't think, unless anybody has objection, I say just do it.
Okay.
I mean, do we need, is everybody okay with that?
I'm okay with it.
As I say, I am more than willing to take the lead on this and try and get it rolling.
Thank you.
And the final thing that I have, this is from Tim. In 2017, I started painting with acrylic paints on canvas. Since then, I've received numerous requests to display my paintings in a gallery setting. I would like to request an opportunity to set up a gallery on the west wall of the hallway leading to the basement stairs for the purpose of displaying artwork during the run of Church Basement Ladies. My proposal is to install a non-invasive gallery system for hanging the paintings. It would consist of a single molding mounted to the west wall across the top. Attached to the molding would be lengths of wire or fishing line or string which would support the framed paintings. This system could also be used to hang others' work at a different time, as well as the regular previous show poster display when we don't have a gallery going on. The gallery is primarily for viewing my paintings. However, if someone is interested in buying one, I will entertain their request. If I do sell a painting, I would like to donate 20% of the sale price to Mouse River Players. And thank you for considering my request.
I say yes.
I say yes.
I agree.
I don't
Okay.
think, do we need to vote on it? Think we
I
can
will
say
move, we accept Tim's.
yes. Motion, seconded. I think discussions are pretty clear. All those in favor?
Aye.
And I do know that we have some other people who are talented artists that once we get this set up, might also be willing to come display their work too.
Yeah, and we've previously done that when we've had the front room with.
Right. So, okay.
Sessions.
And
Good.
that's all I have.
All right, Mr. Edward.
Okay, I've got just a couple things, and they're all pretty quick. One thing that I have been noticing is the outside front room windows on the outside of the building. I understand that we were supposed to get some sort of facing on the building that never has been completed and is currently kind of tabled until we can receive funding for it. But I have noticed that the wood that surrounds those windows has been, it's starting to show signs of rot, break away, and I'm worried about the structure of the windows possibly falling out. That obviously that's money that we spent, and it's also a security risk for the building if we were to lose the window. So I have put together, I've been working on a small list of what it would cost just to do a temporary outside facing of the windows, just at some trim, help protect the wood, help keep the windows in place, and it also would make the front look nicer. This is just based on the cost of the items. I'd be willing to do the work for it for free. So if you consider volunteer, but I'm going with a high bid because obviously it'll probably be less than this. I could probably cut corners here and there or find something cheaper at another place, but currently it would probably cost $251 to trim those windows with vinyl. It can be taken down later if we can get the facing done on the building. So.
The only, I think we need to consider that Holly's husband did that, Northwest Building did that, and when it was done, Larry, Holly's husband, Northwest Builder owner, knew that was never to be the finale of it. So it isn't that he was negligent in any way.
I'm not
No,
saying
we
it
didn't-
was.
I know,
That's what,
but-
yeah.
But the reason I'm saying that is because he knew he wasn't done. I think it would be appropriate to let Larry know, because I believe he thought that he would finish it when we got our facade together, which never happened. So my only suggestion is discuss it with Larry.
Okay. So maybe table this till next month, and
Or if you
Right.
would just,
I'll try and get in touch with Larry and
absolutely,
and see if there's
just,
something we're willing to finish.
yeah, I mean, maybe he has the equipment and would be, I don't know. But I do think because he initiated it and knows it isn't done before somebody else completes it, I think he should be.
I'd like to make a motion that if Ed can contact Larry and get information from him, if Larry says, go ahead,
And move forward.
can we just move
Please.
forward without having to come back?
Absolutely.
Yes, I would second that.
And obviously,
Because the weather is
Mm,
counting.
Yes,
I'll
yes.
I'll provide receipts of everything purchased, or if the board be willing me to access to a card to make purchases and then bring the receipts for those purchases as well. So either way.
As far as the card, Ken is the one that holds it, so if you want to just get with him.
All right.
We need it for the protection.
Yeah, and I agree that ASAP with weather.
So the next item on my list is furniture straps. For the current show, they needed stoves. Tim came up with the idea that there were stoves in the apartments that weren't being used, and we carried those down. And from moving multiple pieces for the set that are quite heavy, I think it would be beneficial if for the stage crew we got furniture straps, which
Talking about the arm ones.
yeah,
that you
or
can-
there's ones that it's a harness you wear and you just attach strap to it. It makes lifting items a lot easier. You can keep it in place with your arms to maneuver, and they're usually quite affordable. My mother purchased some for moving.
Chris is welcome to bring them up by herself. She cleaned that whole back.
She could do that now.
Does anyone know if we have furniture straps that belong?
We do not currently have any. We've borrowed Tim's on occasion when he thinks about it before he goes moving anything.
And I think it would be beneficial to have a set here. They're usually fairly cheap.
Yeah,
Last
they
one I bought were like $20.
Yeah, the ones I bought at the high school, I think were $24.99 at Acme Tools.
Yeah, they're not really.
You can get them at
expensive.
any hardware store.
With some of the heavy couches and stuff that we have too, would be a good idea to have.
Stuff
on
like
hand.
that, I would say just purchase what's needed and just get the receipts to Ken.
The motion that you move forward purchasing.
I would say we should
I felt
probably
for
get
it.
2 sets.
Yeah.
Oh,
please.
motion second. Whatever.
I know it's a small expenditure, but I just want to make sure I want to get something approved before I purchase it.
If it was a larger, like $500-600, I would say yes.
I was just being proactive.
Historically, things like that could conceivably be considered as part of a show.
So, yeah.
And anything that is under $100 is generally, go ahead and do it, keep your receipt and you'll get reimbursed. Anything over $100 is talk to a board member and make sure that they're aware of what's going on. Anything that is 250 up, we vote on.
So you'll take care of that, Blaine?
Yep, I'll take care of that. Next item is, obviously, like I said before, we were in the apartments. A lot of them look fairly nice. I noticed that there's a few, minor things that might need to get fixed. But there is a few places in the apartment building that are quite dirty. And possibly there has been somebody breaking in, maybe staying in the apartments or something like that. It doesn't appear to be like there's anything missing, but I think maybe I would be willing to take the lead on this and maybe get a few other board members or volunteers to kind of clean up some of the areas that are there. And then for security purposes, check all the windows, maybe seal them for now if there's something shut, like with a nail or some sort of board, so that people cannot access, whether they're accessing it through windows or what, I'm not sure. I noticed that some windows are cracked open, some are broken. But yeah, definitely for security reasons, going through doing an inventory, doing a cleanup.
So are you saying that you want to be added to the tenant building committee?
I would be willing to join the tenant building committee.
Okay. Yes.
When Ken and I went over the other day, because he wanted to check something out too, we did find there were numerous windows that appeared to be closed, but they were not locked and latched. And so he went through and he closed and latched all the ones that he could do. And yes, there had been evidence that somebody had been coming inside, especially down in the basement one.
I mean,
Yeah,
at this-
We
repulsively.
found things like cigarette butts, we
Food.
found a used condom.
Yep, food that was still sitting
Are
there,
you sure
clothing.
that's-
And
you sure that's not the first time?
No, this was new. And, but there was at least one window he could not latch at all. And there was another one that is broken to the point where we can't even get it closed
Wow.
so that the weather is coming in.
Is that in an apartment unit?
It's in one of the it's in one of the it's the first nice apartment, the biggest one that has the rugs on the floor.
Yeah.
It's one of those crank windows that opens sideways and it's broken. You can't even get it closed. So we need to have somebody
Yeah.
go outside and shove it closed and then nail it or put a board across something to keep it closed because it pops open and then the air, the rain and everything else can get
So,
The committee can take this.
yeah, we already have a tenant building committee. Maybe it's time we acted that again and get together and we need to put, instead of just patching it, we need to come up with a game plan. But we're not gonna have a game plan anytime soon
Yeah.
because nobody knows.
But I think definitely a walkthrough is something to take care of things now. Get them cleaned up, make sure they're secure. I mean, keeping a window shut can be easy as just propping a 2x4 between the window and the top of the window frame, just so it can't be pulled, or nailing it down or something.
Do we have a chair of that committee?
It's basically John and myself. And then I added you because I skipped you, so and I'll add you to that. And we need to set up a meeting and go over there and look at what we need to do right now versus what we can do months from now. Because we're still talking about what we're going to do with that building. So, okay. Is there anything we need to look at, like, right this second?
I think the windows should be maybe something we should address within the next week.
Okay.
Just, I know weather's gonna be cold. If someone is staying in that building, they're probably gonna be in there more often. So maybe get that deterrent there now so that they know if somebody's staying in there, the building is no longer accessible.
So we probably need to just look at adding the building to our security system, at least with motion sensing. That'll at least help us with that problem because we can get the police out here and say, get out.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a drug type thing.
Committee.
Did not see any evidence of that. It just looked more like they were squatting.
Yeah, vagrants.
But with squatting, the rules in North Dakota are if you squat,
Long enough, it's yours.
it's actually, you take domain.
Yeah.
And you have to give them an eviction notice to
I
get
know,
out.
that's crazy.
All right.
By 30 days.
Move on.
It's 30, 60, and 90 days.
Yeah.
They have to be there more than like 24, 48 hours. Okay, so,
And they usually have people out there as well. So.
alright,
And then Carnegie.
And then the next thing, the Carnegie building repairs, Tim was notified of this at the last work call, because we asked if we could borrow the water access so that we could pressure wash some of the freezer. But the Carnegie building, they're gonna start doing repairs to the northwest corner of the building. If you go and look, the corner of the
Part
building
that's
is
falling
cracked.
off.
It's falling apart. They have been approved to get it repaired. I believe he said it's gonna start this fall, and it's gonna continue through next summer. And during that time, the alleyway will be blocked off. There will be no alley access. So.
So even for patrons walking and
Yeah,
Mhm.
they'll
it'll be
have to walk
blocked off
around.
because it's gonna be.
They may or
considered a
may
work
not be
zone.
blocking the sidewalk. He didn't know for sure on that, but he definitely knew the alley would be blocked.
but technically that parking lot back there's not.
But I mean, people park on the streets there too, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's going to be difficult for the people in the shows, the people coming to the shows.
Yeah.
Lord knows, how much construction is gonna bleed over into the street.
Is it them doing their own construction? or
They hired- They
No,
hired
they
company.
hired.
Good.
Oh, God,
So
the whole
because
corner of the building
The
is
brick,
falling
the
off.
brick is gonna have to be disassembled. And there's a specialty company that's gonna come and do that.
Okay, good.
Links to that, any word on the trash, the waste disposal thing?
I'll check this week. It's still sitting over there, so we're not paying for it.
Well, do we have any kind of a contract agreement or anything written with Carnegie about the fact that we are allowed to be using it?
No.
There should
We
be
really
one.
should do that.
Well, yeah, that's something I just need to visit with them again, so. Okay, then moving on. Upcoming show report. Is there any, well, I guess Ken's not here to tell us, but does anybody know if he needs help, needs assistance, everything go okay?
I can't vouch for the show itself, but the stage is about 90% done. It's a few bits of painting still to be done, and then of course set dressing. Costumes are about 90% done. Got to pull a few more things and a couple of repairs, and those should be done. Noon shows are set up. The poster is ready to go. I think Courtney said she was gonna take it down to be printed this week. So we'll have the posters ready. She's working on the program. Oh, yes, I need a welcome to the theater from our board president. And so I can put together the board insert.
This is oh yeah, for season.
Yeah, it's a season program board insert. It doesn't have to be long. In fact, if it's a little shorter than the last one, that would be okay. Because we now have, a slightly larger board, so more names put on this one-page thing. Yeah, I think that, he said that we've already got tickets reserved and sold, so.
Okay. And then the Christmas story, I just put that out there because I know auditions are already.
Auditions are set. I'm gonna be meeting with Justin and giving him the whole line about the keys and the safety and the alarms and keeping the door locked and all these kind of things. Now the sun is going down and getting darker and that kind of thing. He's looking forward to it. We've had a number of people asking about auditions.
Lynn, are
Yes.
you aware that 2 of those nights are Host Fest? The 26th and 29th are Host Fest nights.
I did tell him, he said that's it's when he is available.
Yeah.
So, hey,
Right.
people aren't always going to the Host Fest either, so.
Okay.
I do know that he has asked him to be the set tech person for the show. He's talked with me briefly about costumes. I told him if he didn't have somebody else that he wanted to work on it, I would step in gladly. I think he may have talked to Brittany about lights, but I don't know. Obviously, it's going to be a lot of props, stuff like that. So if anybody's interested in doing tech work on Christmas Story, I know Justin would be very, very happy to have your help.
Okay. House report.
Yeah, yes, thank you. The first aid kit,
It's in there.
it's located in,
It's just sitting there right now.
okay, good. And Holly had asked me to ask about the signage that had been brought up some time ago for the windows and the doors that you were going to look into. Did anything ever come of that?
Yeah, no,
No.
I don't have a price for these.
Okay, and then I have a personal request. If anyone puts water in the mop bucket and mops anywhere, that's wonderful. It's so greatly appreciated that someone mops. But the mop bucket has been left in the electric room and it becomes moldy and it smells just gross. And I have emptied it several times, but in the future, if anyone mops, thank you. If you would also empty the bucket, it would be greatly appreciated. And then Eiley had sent an email some time ago and I wanted to reference it. She suggested revisiting the salary for the executive artistic producer, which is what Lynn has taken. And I don't think she was aware that it's on a beta testing this year.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the year, we definitely will be revisiting that. So I certainly appreciated her input on that. She also made a suggestion about a technical director for the productions, and I think that is something that our finance committee and compensation committees will be looking at again. We have talked frequently about revisiting our compensation package, so I think that's something that is due to be considered. And certainly she mentioned that her almost main production is overlapping. Some things just can't be helped, and cheers for Minot for having so much to do. Then if Lynn, I wondered if we could have a description of your duties so that we don't always say, well, I think Lynn does that. Doesn't Lynn do that?
I had handed one in at the last
Yeah, if
meeting.
we could get it again. Okay, just so it's available because maybe even in the office or something, is Lynn supposed to do this or not?
Post it with the.
Yeah, I think that would help. And show parking, are we hoping that we can park in the back? Is there any contact been made for utilizing?
I don't know if anybody's done, but I can. That, you're talking about
With
Yeah.
cycles, yeah.
Right. They were very good last year to allow that. Now they're charging the school kids to park, but that again shouldn't interfere with our show times, so we should be fine. And then we need cleanup for church basement, ladies. I'll do the stage bathroom and kind of that green room area. John has said he'd take care of vacuuming the seating area. Who will volunteer to do the main bathrooms and the concession area?
I always do that.
I know, but I just want to make sure that you're, gonna be here and so on. Who will do the lobby front, both lobbies, north and back and forth lobbies?
What does that entail?
It's mopping and then
Just
emptying
mopping.
the buckets.
Okay, I'll do
When
it.
you empty the bucket, I suggest you rinse it out too, because at work,
Hello.
I just empty it. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'd like to add something.
along with the mop too.
Maybe we can
rinse
put a
the mop out.
reminder on the inside of the door that if you use the mop bucket, empty and rinse
I
it
have
out.
And the
that
mop
on my
bucket
wall
actually
inside
should
my
be kept
closet.
here. It shouldn't even be in the electrical room. I don't know why it goes into the
Okay.
electrical room. It should be here with that thing. It's
As
totally
far as,
Okay.
Thank you.
as far
But yeah,
as the
possibly
cleaning,
getting us.
for every show the last 2 years, I've been cleaning the front, I cleaned the bathrooms, I cleaned everything. And I'll continue to do that.
Okay.
So,
Okay, all right, so. So
Who did
nothing
you
else
say
has to
was
be-
vacuuming?
I'll do the stage bathroom.
Oh, John,
John's vacuuming?
John said he'd do the seating, vacuuming the seating area.
I just make sure it's.
Is anything happening in the front room?
we were gonna try to move the concessions, but that was mostly for the alcohol portion.
So if not, if Tim wants to consider additional easel or something in the front room, I would have no objection to that. People do like to go into the front room.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm sorry, but I do have a commitment.
regarding ushers and concession people, I can send out an all call to the people that I know of.
Well,
But
I'll be doing my normal, sending out an all call like 2 weeks before the show. But if you have anybody that can put on the list,
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to spread the word, that's about it,
I do every night but the 5th.
Well, if Randall's
I'll send
coordinating,
out, yeah. Okay. All right, anything else on house? I've got to get moving myself, so.
I don't know of anything. Nancy and I have not been able to meet.
Okay. Concessions report, there's nothing. Season committee, obviously nothing. At this time. Nothing box office that Ken's already given us. There's really no movement on any of the special committees at this moment. Is there any discussion or decisional items that need to be brought before the board? Actually, do we still have a quorum? Well, I have four.
With the proxies, we would.
Does anybody else have anything before we close? I can't wait till next month.
I have a quick question regarding the junior board members. If we determine that there are if any of our board people determine that there is a potential junior person, someone who's in their teens, and I'm gonna say teens mostly because I know some very with it 12-year-olds, but still, that might be interested in at least sitting in on our meetings to get a feel of it. Can we go ahead and invite them in as potentially people who are not necessarily voting members, but at least would have a voice at the meetings? So can we just go ahead and say, if Kenna knows of somebody at
I know a great
MCC
girl at the high
that
school.
is really interested in Mouse for Requires and probably could benefit from being part of the board. I know M. Costick has quite often put out suggestions and would be interested. Not so much as a voting member, but at least knowing they have input, that we're not forgetting them type of thing. So can we have a consensus of just, yeah, they can be invited?
Yes, absolutely. Cool.
And assuming that there isn't a, I want to say interference or any qualms, I would like to reach out to the high school, to some of the theater kids, because I know that we're always looking for volunteers and maybe encouraging some of them to be junior board members. I know I've heard tales in the past of the high school director or drama teacher not allowing students to interact with the community theater, but maybe reaching out to whoever is currently the teacher or in charge of that. Is that you? Is there any?
And that's why it was like,
problems.
it's her.
At FCC,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I've had no problems.
Because I know that we always need bright new faces, and I would really like to encourage.
And I have a
kids to
lot
get
of
involved.
kids that are like, I have like 15 kids that only want to do backstage and tech. They don't want to be on the stage.
And this would definitely be, I think, would be good experience for them, especially if it's different equipment for them to kind of broaden out.
Absolutely.
Obviously, nothing that would interfere with what the high school is doing. But
Well, and I even give them hours if they want to usher, if they want to help with concessions. I tell them that you are able to do that, and I will give you thespian hours if they, don't make their quota by the end of the
maybe
play.
we could put together a pamphlet that can go to all the
And
students
you
and
could
someone
even
for them
come
to
in and
contact.
talk to them before rehearsal. I'm game with that. Introduce yourself, maybe bring Brittany, a couple other people with.
Okay,
I'm completely fine with
I'll get in contact with you then.
that. Okay. And Gifford's the one at Central,
Send it.
so,
Yeah, and I can get you in contact.
yeah.
Excellent.
Okay, are there any other special announcements or anything before we set a meeting date and adjourn?
Yes, we need to announce the winner of our flex class, of course. So I compiled all the people who liked and shared our posts and then commented on our posts, and I'm crunching numbers too to see exactly how many people are excited to see church-based plays. But our winner is Becky Ryan Desjardins. So I will be contacting her via Facebook and posting it on Facebook to figure out how we can get her flex pass to her.
Congratulations.
ES space JAR.
Is this?
So the next meeting set date would be Monday, October 8th, unless there's any changes, but we'll talk via email before then. And meeting is adjourned.
Hi.